the Alliance of Women Film Journalists.
Okay.
And we are quite concerned always with women's opportunities
Yes.
and with the images that women are projecting on screen. And you, as a young actress in this role in particular, are likely to touch a lot of people's lives with your performance. I wonder whether you've given some thought to what you're saying to them when you perform a role like this one.
I think more than anything, when I first approached the character, I didn't want her to be seen as a victim or a tragic character. She was so strong. She was this beacon of heart and strength, and had these lovely layers to herself. And there wasn't any huge characteristic trait where, you know, she was riddled with insecurity. She was a mean girl or anything like. She was a young woman who liked herself. You know, she's very self-confident, and I think that's wonderful to be able to play someone like that, who's in a film about teenagers, who's not depicted as this often stereotypical, quite offensive 50-year-old man's portrayal of a young woman, and she's not that. And that's what was so exciting to me, because I get a lot of scripts come through, and the character breakdown is, you know, beautiful but doesn't know it, loves Jane Eyre, you know, something like that, and it's just these people don't exist, and, you know, and why does it always have to be, you know, she's beautiful? Why is that like the first thing that you read about a woman? And what I loved about Rachel is that it wasn't that. It wasn't on the breakdown. The way she looks never came into it, which was so refreshing.
How was she described in the breakdown?
It wasn't, not much thought. Well, it didn't impose their depiction of Rachel onto the actor that was coming in to play her, or the actress. It kind of gave her boring Jewish senior girl subgroup 2A. But more than that, Alfonso and I, we created her backstory, where she wants to be when she's older, how she's this old soul, how she feels like she's already graduated from school, her relationship with her father, and that the backstory and how we wanted her to be perceived kind of came in the rehearsal process.
How long did you rehearse for?
A week and a half, but me and Thomas had been auditioning for 6 months, so it already felt like we were already in the motions of rehearsals, even though we didn't know we had the parts yet.
Mm-hmm. Did you what did you draw on from your own life's experience to find her truth? Because it's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one. I'm very lucky that I've never had anyone pass away or be stricken with cancer. I'm really lucky in that sense. But I've always felt much older than I am physically. I've always craved more from every experience, and I think I kind of drew upon bits of myself with Rachel, just in the way, just how self-possessed she is and how she knows herself, and in order to know herself, she can then be able to make Greg realise his full potential, and her wanting to do that and her selflessness. I think I've definitely done that in the past, and I really do enjoy doing that. Not in a kind of preachy way where I'm going to make you realise your intelligence and your artistic nature, but more so in the way that just friends help one another out, I think. But apart from that, then it was mostly on the page and rehearsals and research with Alfonso.
Do you think that it would be accurate to say then that you were looking at her as a person rather than as a cancer sufferer?
100%, and I think that's often just the way, you know, people get stricken with these illnesses, and, you know, they just become the illness and not the person they were. You know, people just don't, their personality and the way they look don't just vanish because they have this illness. There's still the same person inside, and then there's this frustration that comes with that. with the people that have the illness, because you can see everyone's thought process as they walk in and they see them, and the way they interact with them, how it's just completely different to the way they were spoken to before.
The wonderful touches of liberation, the squirrel leaping around.
Right.
Was that in the script, or was that something that you brought?
It wasn't. I didn't bring that at all. No, that was the wonderful. I think that was Art's and Jerry Sullivan, set designer, and Alfonso. Originally, it was going to be a montage at the end of Rachel and different aspects of her life, but that's kind of been done. You know, you see her at 6 doing this, and then you see her at 14 experimenting with makeup or whatever, and it's kind of been done. I think this was just more of a beautiful way for the audience and for Greg to keep learning about her, to reinvigorate that notion that, you know, you never truly lose someone, you're always learning about them. They never really go completely, and it was a wonderful gift that Rachel left for Greg to find out, because he's finally learned how to listen and to let down his guards so other things can enter him.
When you look to the future in your career, I mean, you're off to a really lovely start, for sure.
Very lucky.
Well, you're also very gifted, so, I mean, it's luck and it's hard work, both. But when you look to your future, what is it that you would like most to accomplish in your career?
I think a good balance of happiness and relationships, along with good work, with solid roles. I think I often feel like as an actor or an actress, you have to give up your personal life, or you have to give up your career for one or the other, and I don't want it to be like that. I want to have both. I want to have all of that.
And what kind of parts do you want to play in the future?
It doesn't really, anything that challenges me, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm playing a weak character or a strong character, I just want to play everything. Yeah, it doesn't affect me if I definitely don't want to play like the one note tits and ass girl who comes in and she has one scene where she's flirting with the main guy and then walks out, or like when I've turned 40, I don't want to be suddenly playing the old hag that just stands there because I'm 40 now, and you know I could never be seen as a sexual being or ever be portrayed as a love interest now that I'm 40. You know, I just want to be challenging myself and constantly challenging the way people portray me and women, I think.
Who are some of the actresses that you look to as sort of your heroes, so to speak?
I love Kate Winslet. I think what she does and how she is so... Vanity isn't an issue with her. She just has no inhibitions, and she will express that, and she'll show herself, and she doesn't care what society thinks of her body or anything like that. And I think it's just, you know, it's a fine line with, especially in America, the way women are perceived, because it's okay if you know, you show cleavage because you're in a sexy dress, but if you suddenly decide to have a loving, intimate sex scene with a man or a woman, you know, suddenly, it's raunchy, it's controversial. But then, you know, having a big, gratuitous fight scene where someone's head gets chopped off, you know, that's entertainment. It's so bizarre, and I just want to be constantly challenging that, and I think Kate Winslet does that beautifully. She really does.
Do you have any thoughts about, there are a lot of films now that have been cast with men originally, like Ghostbusters, that are now becoming women's films. Do you think that that's an accurate portrayal of women? Do you think that that's the way women's opportunities in Hollywood ought to go?
Well, that I don't know. I just feel like it's too on the nose to be like, oh no, women can do that too. You know, these parts were men, but now women can do it. You know, we've done that. Like, why can't we have original roles for women? And you know, let women be women. They're not trying to be men's substitutes. You know, we're not trying. I never set out to be as strong as a man or as physically able as a man. You know, I'm a woman. I've got my own qualities. I've got my own strengths. I've got my own weaknesses. Why can't we have more roles like that rather than I'm a Ghostbuster but I'm a woman? You know.
Is there one character in fiction or in life, in history, that you would like to take on as some sort of a dream someplace? I mean, even initiating a project in order to do it. Even if it's been done already.
I that's a really hard question. I mean, I'd love to do a biopic of someone. That's really hard. There's so many. Amy Winehouse springs to mind because she was such a wonderful musician, a wonderful person, and to have those demons and but that's just me being quite self-indulgent.
Well, please indulge away on that one, will you please? I'd like to see that. That would be stunning.
So
that would be quite stunning. Well, they're telling me...
I know, I want to talk to you more. It was lovely. This was wonderful.
Well, you were lovely.
Oh, thank you.
And